Oman, Jordan is Ahmed Bayram, the Middle East spokesperson for the Norwegian Refugee Council. Ahmed, thank you so much for your time. Your overall impression of what's happening with this new idea that the Americans have introduced?
I think, I have been describing this as a non-starter, and it has turned out to be a literal non-starter. We have seen before it's even begun, the operations, collapsed, and there are clear reasons for that. Indeed, simple reasons. Those being that you can't contract a security private firm to hand aid to people. Aid is about building trust. It's about building relationship. It's about dedication. And what we saw yesterday is a summary of the tragedy of the Gaza people, who I think a lady in your report, described it as experiment, and that's exactly what it is. We want this reversed. We want this cancelled. Enough distraction. Enough of that distraction. We need those tons of trucks of aid, of food, of water, of fuel to go in and allow the professional humanitarians to do their job.
It may well have been NRC, part of a general statement from aid groups and the United Nations. And just looking at some of the issues that these groups are highlighting. People with mobility issues won't be able to access the aid, of course. They say it'll force further displacement. Thousands will be exposed to harm. It also says that aid will become conditional on political and military aims. Is this just the weaponization of assistance?
It is. It is one phase of it. Of course, the other phases of weaponization, politicization, militarization is the closing down of borders, as a punishment for an entire population, a population that is being starved. And of course, Israel bears responsibility for that. Israel is the occupier here. What we are saying in this case is that it can't be the occupier and the feeder at the same time. You can't do both jobs. Of course, again, this has to be cancelled. This has to be reversed. Because when we talk about humanitarian principles like independence, neutrality, these are not just words. These are actions on the ground. You see on the ground. You see the lack of neutrality when people have to walk, displaced people have to walk back to Rafah, having been asked to leave Rafah. Rafah is in 100% of it is a no-go zone for civilians. And now Israel is asking people to risk their lives literally to go back down, take that route. Some people I heard from colleagues have walked for miles, probably over 10 miles, to get that, a box of food, which probably will only last them a couple of days. So again, enough distraction. We have seen it happen with the floating pier. If you remember, with the US floating pier, it's happening again. This is all distraction, taking away more time, probably from the people who don't have it. People don't have time. Really, people are starving. Children are starving every day.
During the course of the conflict, Ahmed, when the NRC wants to help the people of Gaza, what's the process that you have to go through? Who are you speaking to in the Israeli government? What sort of guarantees do you need apart from the security guarantee for your personnel? I mean, how easy is it to deal with the Israeli government regarding aid for Gaza?
It's not easy at all. And without getting too technical here, it's a very complex process, which starts with, of course, bringing the aid supplies into the border. They are languishing as we speak, of course, in the elements. And then getting an entire, a whole layer of chain of approvals from Israel. And Israel inspects the aid trucks and then approves their entrance after, of course, very tedious process. And once the aid trucks are delivered inside, the Norwegian Refugee Council usually coordinates with the UN bodies, mainly, and of course other peer organizations. The UN does the coordination with the Israeli side on securing the routes, on guaranteeing the safety of our aid convoys, and on delivering that aid to the people. Throughout this process, Israel controls every single step of that. And again, we have seen incidents of looting because of the total breakdown of law and order, which again, Israel holds responsibility for that. But I have to say, providing aid is not just handing a box of food and going home. It's much more complex. My colleagues are actually displaced themselves in these camps. They are in tents, go out in the morning, provide that bucket of water or that voucher or whatever it is. It's a very complex, heavy process. It's one of the most stringent anywhere in the world. And again, we're not being allowed to do our jobs here because Israel says so. So we hope that what happened yesterday will change things, and we hope that aid will come in thick and fast.
Really interesting to hear your analysis, Ahmed, also the experiences of your organization, the Norwegian Refugee Council. Thanks so much for joining us.